welcome to the Metal Mixtape here on KSQ 89.5 FM Ashland, Oregon, 94.1 FM Medford, Oregon, and streaming online on kskqdjramo.org. We have Austin from GUNSHINE. What is up, my brother?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude, of course, man. Dude, you know, anytime I get the opportunity to listen to a killer record like Checkmate and talk to a killer musician like yourself, it's always a beautiful day, you know?
Man, I really appreciate that. Yeah, we're super stoked about the music and excited to finally get it out to the public.
Dude, that's super awesome, man. So, you know what? I can talk immediately about the album, about my favorite song to the end of days, just because I'm a sucker for those type of structures, man. But one of the things I love to do on my show, man, is just to get to know people, you know, because I can just keep it textbook, or we can keep it a little fun too. You know what I mean, brother? Yeah,
man, for sure. Let's do it.
All right, dude. So, dude, one thing I always like learning about is just like people's upbringings, you know. You know, basically like learning if if you had like a family influence, or if there was that one person who pulled you aside and was like, dude, you gotta listen to this. This is gonna change your life. Or if you just like came out of the womb and you were just a virtuoso to begin with, you know. But one thing I want to know, man, is like, it's like being at this age right now, and maybe when you started, did you ever expect you'd be in a position right now where you have this killer record? Like, tell me when you first got inspired as a teenager or kid to even think about being in the realm of music.
Yeah, man. It was actually, so my parents are really into music, and my dad, was always showing me stuff that would come on the radio. Like there'd be an Ozzy song, like Crazy Train or something that come on, and he'd be like, "Oh, this is Ozzy. This is Yes. This is Boston." And I was just blown away by how he knew. Like, I remember thinking as a kid, like, how do you know, like all these artists and all these songs, or whatever. But so it was definitely inspiring, being around him and him showing me all kinds of music. And I remember as a kid, we had a KC and the Sunshine Band CD in the car, and I'm 28 now, so my sister and I were growing up and listening to like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, the boy bands and stuff.
Oh, I know. I'm 33. I know.
Yeah, anything that was really catchy. So, I don't know. I've always been really drawn to just music in general, and I remember there was like a Stevie Ray Vaughan concert on TV, and my dad had bought me a guitar even before I started playing, just so that he never tried to push it on me. He kind of just bought it to have around the house in case I did want to pick it up. And I remember seeing that concert and then wanting to get lessons like immediately after that. But yeah, it was really like when I was a teenager, I started a band with like some friends in the neighborhood, and realized at that moment that, songwriting was actually my true passion with music. Like, yeah, I play guitar, but, really more specifically, like what I really enjoyed was the freedom and the expression of actually creating art and the way that it makes me feel. It's almost like doing yoga or something. It's very like, it's just relaxing, like you feel you're not worried about anything. Like when you come up with a cool idea, it just takes you to a whole different space. And, if I'm just sitting there playing scales and stuff all day, that's cool and all to like work on your chops. But yeah, where I really felt my true passion was with songwriting, and just being exposed to music all the time. I felt like I really had a strong filter for what I felt was good. Like for example, like I would hear a song come on the radio, or hear a song, and then think to myself and almost like want the vocal melody to do a certain thing. And if it didn't do it, I would like kind of get mad in my head and be like, no, it should have went there. You know what I mean? So it's like having those realizations of like knowing what you want and being able to hear things in your head, I think was really important. And I think I don't know, that just helped me, I think, later to be a songwriter and everything.
Did you always know like the direction you wanted to go stylistically? Because I'm a songwriter myself. I've been playing guitar like 20 years now, and it was always like a challenge. Not necessarily a challenge, but like what style you really wanted to go. Because there's so many styles of music. There's metal, there's thrash, there's just straight rock and roll. Did you know immediately that like this style of music, which I would say is like hard rock and roll, was this always like the direction you always wanted to go, or were you experimenting growing up while you were learning how to play?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love all kinds of styles of music and everything. But I think for this band, you know, the vision, I mean, it was really probably like 7 or 8 years ago now. It was something to do with melody, you know, big catchy choruses, and you know, vocal melodies are huge for me. So I'm kind of like the melody guy, and then Jordan is like the really, you know, he's the lyricist or whatever, you know. But I don't know, it was something like if you kind of took like the melody of like Boston or Def Leppard and combined it with like the edginess of like a, you know, AC/DC, GNR, Metallica, or something like that. You know, I'm just using all that as an example, but yeah, I think it was more of a subconscious thing maybe than a conscious thing in terms of the sound. But I think there was always maybe like a groove element in the back of my mind and a melodic element, and then from there it was really just kind of like letting inspiration, letting intuition kind of guide the way. That's kind of the biggest thing for me, is kind of letting. So you'll hear songs, I mean, like you mentioned Till the End of Days, you'll hear that intro, which sounds like it could be like a Justin Bieber riff or something, and then it comes in with this whole other, like, then Jordan comes in almost as like a country flair, and then it goes into this other stuff. So I think, you know, it's really just any ideas that kind of nag at you a little bit, and kind of, you know, speak to you, then I'll just save them in my phone or whatever. And it could be something that's like completely thrash, or it could be like the intro to Till the End of Days, and you just really, whatever grabs me.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the reasons I asked you that question about like the styles, and you know, what brought you towards a certain direction is that I see the guitar solo doing some runs that are like some pretty sick ass runs that I would almost hear in like more metal. You know, I'm pretty sure it was in 90 Proof where I heard you do the solo run in it, and I was like, that was pretty fast compared to the rest of the song. You know, like that was like you know what I mean? Like that's something that like Slash wouldn't do. That's like something like, I don't know, maybe like Steve Vai or Joe Bertucci would do. It was just kind of, I was just like, holy shit, like it was beautiful, grooving, and then you just you shredded right in that section.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so, I mean, like I mentioned, we had tons of influences. Obviously, yeah, I love Steve Vai. You know, Sinister Gates from Avenged Sevenfold. I mean, I love Avenged Sevenfold in general.
Hey, he's my boo, dude. I'm obsessed with him. Okay, keep going.
yeah, no, absolutely. Because not only do I love their music, but I love what they stand for in terms of songwriting, with not trying to conform or fit into anything. I think again, it kind of goes back to what I was just saying, kind of letting your art sort of guide you, and your inspiration or your intuition and all that stuff. So I think they definitely do that, and I don't know, I just I'm into that kind of like almost some of those like Egyptian sounds and stuff like that, you know. And
fuck yeah.
So all that stuff is in there for sure. Like, you know, and then of course Yngwie and all those guys,
But you know what? I think it's beautiful though that you have all these tools. But what's beautiful is that like you write this awesome music which has all these beautiful structures, and it's really pretty music. But it's nice just having that in the canon, you know, whenever you want to use it. You know, because I was saying there's like flares of just like you go on these runs and shredding where I was just like, I see what you're doing there. You know, you're adding in the hot sauce where it has to be, and not just having to have a whole hot sauce on your plate.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it was really, you know, I think part of the goal was to kind of, you know, create catchy songs, but then when you kind of sort of move the curtain away or whatever, that there's all these layers underneath that it's like we're still kind of there's all these cool little moments and stuff, but at the same time it doesn't override the song.
Hell yeah.
So that's kind of a little bit, I think, subconsciously, you know, the goal.
I love it, man, dude. It's like preparing a good plate of food, you know. I think everything you have is proportioned exactly how it should be. So that way, like when you have like your build-ups, you know, it builds up and you have your climaxes. You know, and I think that's what I love about Checkmate, this album, is that, you know, you have a lot of build-up to these big choruses, you know, that makes it sound sick. You know, and instead of like a lot of albums where it's just like just straight up fucking a mess. I don't know. I'm pretty honest when it comes to albums, so I just honestly say that. But dude, so before we start talking more, I mean, we've actually been talking about the album, but did you ever have like your a big show or like a first show in your life that maybe like inspired you, that got you over like the jitters and everything, where you're just like you kind of like talk to yourself in your brain, you're just like, yes, Austin, like this is it, this is what I've been wanting to do. Did you ever have like a first big show moment like that?
Definitely. I don't know that I can think of one specifically, but I definitely remember those moments where it's kind of like, you almost like talk yourself into almost being there, and then after it, you just feel this insane, adrenaline rush, and that's really the whole reason. I mean, what I'm doing right now in Gunshine and what we're doing as a band is really just, for me, it's really the ultimate goal. I had toured with another band called New Year's Day, and we done tours with Hailstorm and Godsmack, and, we did the arena thing, and I've been to Australia and Europe and all this stuff, but in that band, I just kind of got that gig. I was more of like a touring member, a hired gun, while I was trying to find the right pieces to get Gunshine off the ground. But now that, it was super cool doing all those things, but at the same time, like, to be able to do what we're doing with Gunshine and, again, parts and songs that you've created, the sound that was in your head, to do that, and then obviously the ultimate goal is to play, all around the world, doing this stuff. So yeah, that's the ultimate dream right there, is to be able to play on a large scale, doing the kind of, playing the music that we wrote. That's the goal.
I love it, dude, and just with hearing that everything you've been through as far as, being a hired gun and getting your band off the ground, what before we get talking to your album to finish off the interview, like what do you think your biggest challenge was? Maybe on a mental standpoint, or just like maybe like being away from your family, like what do you think was your biggest challenge? Because I know for a lot of people or friends I know in the industry and everything, it's a huge sacrifice really wanting to do your music, because a lot of times people don't get your dream. You have to realize that like you have to do it because you love it, and you have to just keep persevering. Like what do you think your biggest challenges have been wanting to pursue your dreams?
That's actually a great point, because not everybody, no one can, you can't explain to someone with words like what these vocal melodies are coming through your head, or these ideas, or what your sound is, and so it is interesting, like you said, it's like people are not always gonna completely understand you, and that's why I'm so glad that I'm able to put this out now, and then people can start to see what it is that I do and what we do, whatever. But then again, you put out one song, and then people will jump to conclusions or assume, oh, this is what you guys do, and it's like, really, there's so much more depth, or that might have just been that one song or whatever, or that 5-second TikTok clip, or what I mean, things like that. But the challenge, I think the biggest challenge for this band was really just finding the right members to really get it out there. Like I've known the drummer James for about 7 or 8 years, and him and I had been jamming together for a long time, writing songs and doing and playing on stuff, but we, for the longest time, we couldn't find the right singer to really get this project off the ground, and it's tough, because there's so many boxes you have to check. It's like, do they have the right voice, the right look? Do you have a songwriting chemistry with them? Do they have a good attitude? Like, so on and so on. So it's, that was the trickiest part. Other bands are maybe fortunate that like their brother, right, is like their brother is one of the bandmates or whatever. And, but this band wasn't really like that. It was definitely like, okay, we gotta search to find all the right pieces. And so, but when it was right, it was right. And it was actually right after I flew home from Europe, like right before the world shut down, March of 2020, and then I flew back to my hometown because I was living in LA before I was touring, but then after, during that COVID time period, I moved back to Pensacola, Florida, where I'm from, and somebody was like, hey, you should check out this singer, I think he'd be good for your songs, and at that point we had already tried out so many different singers, and so I was a little star, so it's just like, yeah, whatever, we'll see what happens, but we got Jordan over, and we wrote the song Wall Set to Call off of our debut album. We wrote that together in one day, and it was just obvious that it was like, okay, best case scenario, we have an actual band now. So.
Oh, that's so fucking awesome to hear, man. Just because I know exactly what you're feeling, because exactly, dude, I swear to God, that I would say is the hardest challenge right there, is finding the right members, because then you can't even really get started. You can't even really start getting this thing off the ground, and just hearing that I can imagine you being in your brain all right, here we go, let's do this again, and that's how music should be. You should, if everybody is on the same page and you have chemistry, you should be able to get a song done in a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just any song.
Definitely, and I mean that was it right there. It was just because I knew these the sound and these ideas that were in my head, and I knew what we wanted to do, and I felt that it would be really cool, but it was always frustrating because it was like, oh man, we just can't just find the right other things to make it happen. So anytime you're in a situation in life where you can't control it completely, it's always a little frustrating. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the thing about a band, is you're only one part. It's like you can't force it, and you can't control it unless you're a one man situation. You can't really control it completely. So yeah, that was definitely the most difficult part, but it was worth me setting the bar really high and work the weight, because we have a really good group of people, and all the guys have such a great attitude, and that's such an important part. So.
Dude, that's awesome. So, dude, talking about your new album, Checkmate, which is totally fire. I love 90 Proof, Swing Away, Checkmate, Annihilation. To the end of the day, it was all just sick, dude. When you said you already were writing songs before this album and everything, what was your initial goal with this now that you had all the right pieces? Because you definitely have I feel like it's like hard rock, southern hard rock, and then you have these shredding licks, just perfectly placed throughout this album. One part of the question is, what is your favorite song off this album, and what is your initial goal with the direction of it?
Yeah, man, it's hard to pick a favorite for me, because I feel like each song kind of does its own thing in other words, it's like if you're showing, if you only have 30 seconds and someone just wants to hear a banger real quick, it's like, okay, you can put on, here's your, the 90 Proof or Swing Away, just throw that on for them. But if it's like, okay, we're gonna, you want to hear something really depth and with a lot of depth, and you're gonna sit down with headphones on, it's like, I'm gonna show them till the end of days, or
absolutely.
If you're working out and you want to feel like you're a badass and can run through a wall, I'm gonna put them, I'm gonna put on Annihilation. If you're at a bar, hanging out with friends or something, and you want something kind of bouncy and whatever, you put on Checkmate. So it is definitely I feel like they all do something a little different. Now, I'm definitely proud of them all, but if I had to pick one, probably till the end of days, I'm really proud about how that came out, and a very close second is probably Annihilation right behind it, because I'm just proud of how all those melodies were crafted and the harmony of that song and everything. So, but again, that's tough for me to say. And then what was the part two again?
Oh, I was just saying all of now that you were talking about all these songs having a purpose, 100% makes sense. It was basically just what was the initial direction behind this song? Because I know people drive with it with a lot of emotion. What part of yourself were you trying to express in this album?
Yeah, I mean, it was really just kind of hearing these different, just really being in the moment and hearing these different ideas in my head at at any given time, and then being around with the guys and collaborating and putting these songs together, really just the main thing kind of getting across is that like one song can't define us. It's really the way we do things is very, we just write what comes out in the moment and then try to put together the best piece of music for that given thing that we're doing at the time. So it's really like, I think the biggest thing with Gunshine is like we don't try to sound a certain way or try to necessarily definitely like not fit into a box or follow any formulas. I think the most important thing is just, how do we feel on this given day at this given time, and just honing in on like your intuition again, just like what feels right. And I think that goes a long way in making the songs flow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely, dude. I think I would definitely recommend this to all of our listeners in Oregon. It's a killer record, and I've already told you numerous times my favorite songs to the end of days, for the reason that it was really, there were so many layers, and I love just the changing of emotions. You could almost feel what you were feeling through your songwriting, and it's definitely an album I would check out. Are you guys planning to tour through with this album, and what do you guys got? What do you guys got in the barrel for the rest of the year?
Absolutely, yeah. I can't wait to make it out to Oregon. I always had, actually, I used to tell people when I was touring a lot with New Year's Day that was always like one of my favorite states, if not my favorite state to tour through. But yeah, with Gunshine, so we got coming up. We have June 9th and 10th. We have some headline dates, so we're playing June 9th and 10th in Central Florida, Tampa, Orlando. And we go up to Knoxville, Tennessee on June 16th. And then June 25th, we're in Atlanta. So we have some headline stuff, and there's going to be a lot more added. And then, we just came out with our new EP, of course, and then we have CDs available now for that. You can go to gunshineband.com and click merch, and we have T-shirts and of course, the CDs, all kinds of stuff on our merch store. And we're on all streaming platforms, all social media. So, yeah, man, just doing the next thing and playing the whole social media game, and then definitely touring.
Hell yeah, awesome. Before we end the interview, I'm gonna shoot you 3-pronged questions. You done?
Absolutely.
All right, man. If you could choose your death, but it had to be by somebody in a horror movie, who would you choose to kill you, and how would they do it?
Oh, let's see. I don't know, probably Freddy Krueger. I mean, that's just a classic.
Oh yeah, what would he do? Would he rip his hand right through your stomach, or just rip you to shreds?
Probably come up from behind so that I wouldn't. Maybe like he comes up from behind and just stabs me in the back, but I see him through a reflection.
Oh my god, damn.
So it's like I see him, but it happens so quick that I have to deal with it too much.
Right on. All right, dude. In a zombie apocalypse, you could have one weapon to destroy the zombie horde. It can't be as a cure or a nuke. What is it?
What are those things like RPGs or whatever, like grenade launchers?
That'd be sick, dude.
Yeah.
All right. What is the one artist or band or group that you listen to that is the furthest away from the music you play?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, so my dad kind of introduced to me like a lot of like world music, and there used to be this band. They were an Australian band. They had like didgeridoos and stuff in the music. It was super cool. I think it was like, it's pronounced like Yusu Yindi or Yosu Yindi, something is the name of the band. But I don't know. Like I definitely listen to stuff like that. Like it was always super cool to hear that like kind of traveling sounding like sort of world music stuff.
I love it. Well, everybody in Oregon and around the world, check out Checkmate by GUNSHINE. And Austin, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. And last but not least, before I say goodbye, can you say this is Austin from GUNSHINE and you're listening to the Metal Mixtape?
Absolutely. What's up? This is Austin from GUNSHINE and you're listening to the Metal Mixtape.
Austin, you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your interviews, and just keep kicking ass, my brother.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
Later, brother.
All right, later.